Hi everyone, I'm Joanne Smith and I play the Autoharp. This series of videos that we're going to start involves converting a standard chromatic Autoharp to a diatonic one. And what I did was took a 70s vintage Oscar Schmidt Autoharp that was in good shape, and I converted it into a single key diatonic Autoharp. And I'm going to walk you through the steps, step by step, on how to do this yourself. It really can be done and it's not that hard. The first steps involve taking off the chord bar assembly and also removing the strings, and that's what this video is going to cover. It runs 6, 7, 8 minutes, and once that set is completed, I'll put out another couple of videos that'll walk you through the next steps. So sit back, enjoy, and before you know it, you'll have your very own diatonic Autoharp. Okay, here we go. Step 1, I have removed the 6 tiny screws that were holding the top plates off of the chord bar assembly. They're very tiny little screws, little Phillips head screws, and it's really important to try to find a screwdriver that fits these little screws as well as possible, because it's real easy to strip those out, and then they're not only can't get them out, they're even harder to put back in. So anyway, I've gone ahead and removed those, and these end plates then come off. And what you see underneath there is what remains of some padding that used to be on the underside here. We will strip all that off and put some new padding in that's going to do a whole lot better job than this foam that was here originally. Now, into the chord bar assembly itself. The chords are made of metal, the chord bars rather, and they bounce along in a little slotted grid here. So I'm going to take one of these out and show it to you here. Okay, and on the underneath side, there's your felt that's used for damping the strings, and in each slot is a screw. I mean, a screw, not a screw, a spring. Sorry about that. But these springs just kind of lay in there loose and they bounce around. So be aware. When you take one out, it's liable to come bouncing out with you. And they just fall all over the place and get tangled in the strings and all that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all the chord bars and their associated springs. Just slide right out there, just like that. And it's a real good idea to keep a cup or something to keep stuff in while you're doing this. So let's just remove all those. There's another spring. Just kind of fell out there. And just go on down the line and remove these. And then we'll take the mounting brackets off. Okay, I've gotten all the chord bars removed now, and as you can see, the chord bar assembly, the holder consists of a frame with slots in it. And we're going to go through this at a later time, and I'm going to show you how to reassemble this and use some weather stripping actually to make it sound a whole lot better and not so many clacks and clunks and stuff like we were seeing on before we took it apart. So for right now, I'm going to just remove the chord bar holders themselves, and you may be wondering why I would want to do this. Well, number one, it just makes it a nice clean surface so that you can get it good and clean, and that. But another reason is you'll notice how far up this chord bar assembly is to the top of the strings. If you're trying to strum across here, you have very, very little picking room up here at the top strings. So what we're going to do when we replace the chord bar assembly, we're going to move it down a bit, good ½ inch or so, get it away from this upper register here so you have more room to pick up here on the higher strings. So let's go ahead and take our screwdriver here, trusty little screwdriver, and I want to tip just a little bit, so kind of hold it down and very gently remove the screws, trying not to strip the screws at all, because these are going to have to go back in, so you want to treat them very gently and with care. I usually get about halfway out on one side and then go to the other side and work it out as well, very gently. Well, If I can keep a hold of the screwdriver, that is. Okay. You'll see it's starting to get loose. Okay. There we are. Get it loose. Take your screws and put them someplace where they will not get lost. And there we have it. First one is removed. Clean it up, get the dust off of it, and we'll go from there. And then I'll get the other one removed, and then we'll go on to the strings. Okay, now that we have the chord bars removed, I'm going to start taking the strings off. Now, there's a couple of ways of going about doing this. One, you can replace the strings one at a time. You can loosen one, take it off, get your new string, put it on, tune it up to pitch. That probably puts the least amount of stress on the Autoharp body, doing it that way. That's the way I prefer to do it when I'm changing strings on all my other harps. But this one in particular, I would like to get all the strings off of it so that I can clean the body real good, and I would like to remove this this sticker down here if at all possible. I just think it might make it look a little better. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start loosening the strings a little bit at a time. You don't want to just snip all of them and release all the pressure on top of the harp all at once. There's about a ton of pressure pulling in on this body. And there's always a chance when you're changing strings on an older harp that it might give way on you. That's a risk that you just take. But in this case, I'm just going to start up here at the top in just about a half a turn. And I'll start there, then I'll come over here and do the same thing. And kind of walk my way back and forth across here, gradually releasing pressure on the harp. About a half a turn. Come back up here. Okay. Let's see, where did I stop? Right there. Okay. Just about a half a turn. That's all it takes to release that tension. And they're starting to get pretty wobbly here. That's what you want. You don't want to just go down one side, because then it releases the pressure from one side to the other instead of slowly. So once I get that done, we'll go from there. Okay, I've loosened all the strings so they're now nice and bouncy. Now I've gone out here and I've gone ahead and loosened one of the bass strings to the point that it can actually be removed. And the easiest way to do it is to loosen it to the point where you can come down here and slip the little ball end out of the bottom bridge, okay, like that. And then just lay it aside. If it comes off of the tuning pin, fine, but you may just want to deal with all of that later. But one of the things that you need to be very careful of when you're removing strings is pay very close attention to the number of turns that it takes to take the string off. You don't want to have some of your tuning pins real high and other ones real low. You want to keep them about even. So about 2 turns is what it usually takes to get the strings off, and that's the same number of turns you want to put back on when you put the new strings on. Otherwise, you may end up driving the tuning pin down too far into the wood, or not far enough, and it will be loose. So just pay real close attention to that. And these I've already done about 2 turns, these right here. And it's loose enough now that I can come down here to the bottom and pop out the little ball end. And then just lay it aside and deal with it later. I find that it's easier to deal with them all at once, getting them off of the tuning pins, than it is one at a time. So I'll just keep working on this and getting these strings off. And when I get them all removed, I'll come back and I'll see you again. Well, I hope you enjoyed these first 2 steps on your road to converting a standard chromatic Autoharp into a diatonic one. And on our next couple of videos, we will get the new strings put on, and we will go over the chord bar assembly and get it sounding a whole lot better than it started out. So I hope you'll join me next time, and in the meantime, happy harping!